Time is very important. We have lost time. But again, setting aside how we got here, we cannot take a pause. Hunger doesn't take a pause. People are jobless across America. That doesn't take a pause. People don't know how they're going to pay their rent across the country. We have to address this with humanity.
You've got Speaker Nancy Pelosi urging Senate Republicans to take up the Democrats' $3 trillion relief bill as the Republicans declare it's not going anywhere. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy joins us right now with an update. Good morning to you, Mr. Leader.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Well, we've already heard, thank you. We've already heard from Senate Republicans that it's DOA in the Republican-controlled Senate. You're in the House. You're not crazy about it either.
No, I'm not crazy about it. Democrats are not crazy about it. Democrats talked about this bill going nowhere. And it's really sickening that the Democrats are using this opportunity to enforce their socialism. Remember, what is this bill that they just passed on Friday? Well, it's about pot. It's about prisoners. It's about politicizing election law, prioritizing illegal immigrants and pensions. These are all things that are socialist wish list that they've been trying to pass long before COVID ever came to this land. And that's exactly what they're trying to do, knowing that it will not go anywhere. They're just using this as an opportunity to restructure government. And I'm not just saying that. That's what Democrats say. Joe Biden said it the other day. Their whip said it, Clyburn. It goes beyond AOC, is now throughout the entire Democrat socialist base of what they want to utilize this opportunity to. Because when we wanted to help small businesses with their loans, Nancy Pelosi went to the freezer to stop it.
What about the fact that while she has her list, and it's now apparently going to be negotiated between the parties, the stakeholders in this particular piece of legislation, it's very clear Republicans would like liability protection for employers and businesses against frivolous lawsuits, as it was described. But the president would also like to see a payroll tax cut, which, you know, there are a lot of Republicans who don't really think this is the time to do that.
No, that would help. That would keep more money in individuals' pockets. It would help business. What we've been able to do as Republicans, look what we've been able to do with the small businesses, save more than 30 million jobs, even though the Speaker, every single time we went to move a bill, had held it up, because she held it up for always the same time, changing election law, doing something about pensions and prisoners and others. And that's not dealing with COVID. We should focus on COVID, have the ability to open up safely. She's not even opening up the Congress. The Senate is open, Starbucks is open, but not the House. We are essential. And the founders believed we should assemble. They'd be ashamed of what's happening right now. And now she wants to change how Congress works itself. And it's more than opening up a campus. It's bringing the voice of the American public back.
Leader McCarthy, we've been covering this morning a New Jersey gymnasium that Governor Phil Murphy here in New Jersey has already said they can't open. But they are going to fly in the face. They're going to defy the governor's order because, and you can appreciate this as a former small business owner, you know, if they stay closed, which is what the state of New Jersey is telling them to do, they're going to just go bankrupt forever. There will not be any reopening because they simply will not have the money. Their dreams dashed. Can you appreciate what this guy and other people in other small businesses are facing right now?
I can understand. When I was 20, I opened my first business. You put everything on your credit card. You were the first to work, you were the last to leave, and you're the last to be paid. You want to make sure you're able to do it in a safe manner. And that's why I believe we should look to the local communities to start making these decisions. I've watched the California governor where we are 4 states among ourselves, and it's different to each location. But he wants to make one blanket answer for all, and that does not work. Let's work through the locals to have the ability to do it in a safe manner, to be able to have business again. And I believe we can do that. We might have to adapt. We might have to change a few items, but we can open up safely that individuals can start producing again so we have an economy to come back to.
Yeah, and for people who are watching right now, you know, they hear that the Republicans are against this new bill that would provide them unemployment for a number of months past the current legislation, plus they might also get another stimulus check. Republicans are going to try to help the people who are hurting right now. It just sounds like what you're saying, if it is not coronavirus related, forget it.
Yeah. What I'm finding is all the things that the Democrats advocated for, the reasons why Speaker Pelosi held up the CARES bill that dealt with unemployment, gave the small businesses the loans, was able to give the state and the hospitals money. She held it up because she wanted to change election law. She wanted to focus on cannabis. She wanted to focus about pensions. Well, we were able to keep that out. Yes, she got more money for the Kennedy Center. But now when the Democrats crafted their own bill, the focus was on those items, those socialism items that they wanted to bring up, nothing about COVID. That is a waste of money, $3 trillion that never went through one committee. This was only written in Pelosi's office. And they knew it wasn't going anywhere. You talk to Democrats, they didn't like it, they didn't want it. And it's the only reason she brought us back and to change the election law on how the House will work. Because the House is essential. We should be working. You have businesses across America that want to open again, and she keeps it closed to give her more power.
All right. We appreciate you, even though the House is not open. You showed up for our interview today.
I will still be
McCarthy
working.
of California, thank you, sir, for joining us live.
Thank you.
All right.